In the heart of Syria, a nation torn by conflict, the unthinkable happened. The regime of Bashar Al Assad, which had seemed unshakable for decades, crumbled before the world's eyes. This is the story of what really transpired in those fateful days. As dawn broke over Damascus, whispers of dissent grew louder. The streets, once tightly controlled, now echoed with the footsteps of defectors. High-ranking officials, long loyal to Assad, began to flee. The regime's grip on power was slipping, and the world watched in disbelief. But it was within the military that the true collapse began. Soldiers weary from years of brutal conflict laid down their arms. Entire units vanished overnight, leaving their posts and melting into the population. The army, once the backbone of Assad's power, was disintegrating. In a shocking turn of events, even Assad's most trusted generals abandoned him. They left him isolated, a leader without an army. The man who had ruled with an iron fist now found himself defenseless, his authority evaporating like morning mist in the Syrian desert. As chaos engulfed the capital, Assad made a desperate move. Under cover of darkness, he fled to Hamim, the Russian airbase on Syria's Mediterranean coast. It was his last hope for escape, a final lifeline thrown by his longtime allies. But even here, in this supposed sanctuary, Assad found no respite. The Russian forces, sensing the shifting tides of power, distanced themselves from the fallen dictator. They watched, impassive, as he pleaded for assistance, his once commanding voice now reduced to desperate whispers. In a final surreal act, Assad boarded a small private jet. As it took off from Hamim, carrying him towards Moscow, the gravity of the situation became clear. This was no tactical retreat, no temporary absence. It was an exile, the inglorious end of a regime that had dominated Syria for half a century. Back in Damascus, the streets erupted in a mix of celebration and uncertainty. Decades of oppression had ended, but the future remained unclear. The fall of Assad left a power vacuum, one that various factions rushed to fill. As news of Assad's flight spread, the international community scrambled to respond. Diplomatic channels buzzed with activity as nations positioned themselves in the new Syrian reality. The geopolitical landscape of the Middle East had shifted overnight. In Moscow, Assad arrived not as a head of state, but as a man without a country. The Russians, ever pragmatic, offered him sanctuary, but no support for reclaiming his lost power. The once mighty ruler of Syria was now just another exile. His dreams of dynasty turned to dust. The fall of Bashar al Assad's regime marked the end of an era for Syria. It was a moment that would reshape the nation's future and send ripples across the entire region. As the dust settled on this historic upheaval, one question remained: what would rise from the ashes of Assad's fallen regime?